Even in the thickest of fogs, Dave Swindles and Keith Harris know how to navigate Rockhampton's Fitzroy River. For more than 15 years, they've been braving the early mornings, the sandflies and the salt to catch barramundi and deliver it to local seafood suppliers. But lately, it's been hard to see ahead. The Queensland Government's plan to stop net fishing in the area is about to cost them their jobs.
I'm mentally strained, don't know where to do, don't know what to do, don't know how I'm going to feed my family.
It just come out of the blue. It's nothing you could be prepared for, even if you did know it was coming. But it was really put a stressful time upon us. There's not a day goes by that we don't think about what our future holds. In a couple of months' time, we may be out of work, or a large percentage of our income will be taken away from us. So I don't think I could survive with a 30% loss of income.
From November, new regulations will come into effect, banning commercial net fishing in 3 marine zones. One off Cairns, another north of Mackay, and the largest zone, 2,013 square kilometres between Keppel Bay and the Fitzroy River. The policy was announced by the Labor Party in the week before January's state election, and it's a promise the new government is determined to keep.
We're very confident from a variety of perspectives that this is a very, very good measure. It's a measure that's been embraced wholeheartedly in the Northern Territory and other states of this country.
Agriculture Minister Bill Byrne says it will attract the recreational fishing crowd to coastal towns and boost the economy.
Victoria and New South Wales have both embraced similar mechanisms and similar closures for the same purposes that the Queensland Government is pursuing these measures. And that will drive economic development, that will drive recreational and tourism fisheries, and we've made a conscious decision to gain the greatest economic benefit in fisheries that are set up and suitable for much greater recreational and tourism activity.
Anglers are delighted. They say exclusive access will lure sports fishers from across the country.
When areas are set aside without nets, that you get more fish and bigger fish more often. We have a great opportunity in the sense that we've got a beautiful river and we've got airport not that far away. People can fly in and jump on a boat and go and, potentially, if we get the barra numbers up and the king numbers up, be able to get them on a boat within 5 minutes and catching a barra. That's something that you can't do in Australia at the moment.
Rockhampton's mayor is also hooked on the idea. She's unveiled a plan to revitalise the riverfront and bring tourist dollars back to the town, which has suffered from the mining downturn.
We can catch metre-long barramundi off the shores beside us here, and that's an extraordinary draw card for us as a tourism but also lifestyle. We're a river city and it's important that we're able to use recreation on the river as a key part of our message as we sell our community.
Others aren't convinced.
When you look at the evidence of other net fishing ban areas, particularly in New South Wales, who have adopted them over a number of years, this notion that it's going to lead to a boom in tourism, it just doesn't stack up. They are putting forward a policy that is going to cost 38 families to lose their livelihoods. I think it is incumbent on them to actually show us the data and the evidence that says there's going to be all these tourism jobs created as a result of people sacrificing their livelihoods.
No net-free zones! No net-free zones!
With only 3 months until the net bans kick in, tensions have reached boiling point. The consultation period has closed, and the government says of more than 6,000 people who responded to an online survey, 90% were in support of the bans. But commercial fishermen say they've still had no face-to-face consultation with the Agriculture Minister.
The individual engagement with affected fishermen is the next stage of the process. Now that the zones have been clearly identified, we can accurately identify the the people that'll be affected, and that's the next stage, is to engage with, on an individual basis, those affected parties.
But for many, that's too late.
That's most of my income for the year is from barra fishery, the inshore net fishery, yeah, so at least 60 to 70% of my income comes from net fishery. That's me life. My family's pretty well built themselves around my life, so yeah, no, it's everything to me.
Adam Kelly's biggest concern is how he'll support his wife and 5 children, 2 which have special needs.
That's a king salmon. Real name's threadfin salmon. They're lovely eating.
And relocating to find work won't be easy.
I have children with disabilities who have to then be put through a new hospital, and if anyone has a child with disability that still has not got diagnosis, you know how hard it is to just do that.
The state government says it set aside $10 million to buy back licences or to compensate commercial fishermen for their losses. But those in the industry say that's nowhere near enough. Associated Industries are also angry they won't be able to access any of the assistance. Central Queensland seafood wholesaler Mark Bush says his business will lose a huge chunk of its income stream.
It will decimate it because we're not going to be able to source fish from other areas of the state because this is the major fish producing area on the eastern seaboard. We have been freezing down a lot of local product in the event that it may happen. So, you know, we'll go from predominantly fresh in our display to frozen.
How sad is that for you?
It's pretty sad. We pride ourselves on fresh fish.
Mark Bush says seafood consumers in Queensland can expect to pay between 30 to 50% more for wild-caught fish fillets. Restaurateurs are worried it could lead to less tourists, not more.
Barramundi is actually the main fish that we sell here at the restaurant, and the first question that a customer asks is it farmed or is it fresh? And it's always fresh, and there is a big difference in flavour with wild barra and the farm, and I just cannot sell the farm. And it's always difficult to get people to the central Queensland region. You know, the southeast are fine and northern Queensland are fine. So, I mean, this is unique to this area, and you know, we should be really capitalising on one of our natural resources, and a wonderful and tasty resource.
Minister Burns says commercial trawling, line fishing and crabbing will be allowed to continue within the zones, and that means seafood lovers won't miss out.
Despite the fact that there are people saying this won't work, over time, in other jurisdictions it's been proven to be very successful, and those people that work in the tourism sector, those people that work in all the enabling parts of the economy for recreation and leisure, know that these steps will have very dramatic positive implications over time for regional economies.
He has the backing of environmental groups.
Those iconic reef animals, dugongs, turtles, dolphins, we're finding more and more of them washing up, tangled up in fishing nets. In some really terrible cases, we're finding them tied up with barbed wire, weighed down with concrete blocks so people don't find them. And for these animals, these are air-breathing animals. What a terrible, terrifying way to die. You know, tangled in a fishing net, being unable to get to the surface to breathe.
The World Wildlife Fund says the policy doesn't go far enough and would like to see the appointment of independent observers on commercial net fishing boats across the state to ensure bycatch isn't killed.
Catch and release. You didn't fish.
Commercial operators say most people are doing the right thing, and bans will only put more strain on other marine ecosystems.
We can't go anywhere else. There's nowhere else left for us to go. So and if we do go to an area where we are allowed to go to, instead of having 10 fishermen there, we're going to have 20 fishermen. So how is us being relocated to another area? That doesn't make any sense to me. All it's doing is putting more pressure on another area that doesn't need it.
It's also putting pressure on fishing families.
Have a little ride on the boat?
You don't have time for that. Ride on the boat? You just got out of the boat.
And commercial fishers say the Agriculture Minister still has time to change his mind.
Is he going to pay for that house so I don't lose my house? I've got to take Jordan to Brisbane every 4 months. Is he going to pay for me to have babysitters look after my kids? No. No, it's not the policy. It's just he's destroying people's lives. So that's all it is.